Manchester City in 2026 might have the most dangerous squad ever. They have goals,
Haaland one-on-one, scores!
assists, creativity, and explosion. Last season, they had a serious problem which included their attack. Too predictable, too reliant on Haaland. Now, with Marmoush, Cherki, and possibly Rodrigo joining the fight, Pep's about to unleash something terrifying. But how good is this attack? And can they compete for the treble this season? You know, a lot of people looked at Manchester City last season and thought their only real weaknesses were in defence and midfield. Rodri missed key games, and without him, the control in midfield dropped. Ruben Dias had spells out too, which made the backline look shaky. But here's the thing, even with those problems, City's attack had an issue no one was talking about enough. They were far too reliant on Erling Haaland. Week after week, it felt like if he didn't score, City weren't winning comfortably. And it wasn't because Haaland was playing badly. He still ended the season with 34 goals and 5 assists, but because the players around him just weren't delivering enough. Take the wingers for example. Jeremy Doku came in with electric dribbling and pace, but his end product was low, with only 3 goals and 6 assists in the league. Savinho was another exciting talent, quick and dangerous on the ball, but he finished with just 1 goal and 8 assists. When your wide players aren't scoring, all the pressure lands on your striker, and that's exactly what happened here. And then there was Kevin De Bruyne. Normally, he's the creative heartbeat of the team, but at 34 and with more injuries than ever, he couldn't influence games like before. 4 goals, 7 assists. That's low for his standards, and it left City without their usual spark in the final third. Guardiola saw this and knew he couldn't go into 2026 with the same setup. He needed more firepower, more variety, and players who could share the load with Haaland. And that's where the new and incoming faces come in, and we start on the right. Last season, the right wing was mainly Savinho's spot, and to be fair, he brought qualities that made him tough to deal with. Quick acceleration, close control, and the kind of dribbling that gets fans off their seats. On the ball, he's fearless. He'll take on his marker without hesitation, and more often than not, he'll beat them. His ability to glide past defenders is rare, and that's why Guardiola trusted him in so many games. But here's the problem: output. For all the positions he's got into, he ended the league season with just 1 goal and 8 assists. That's nowhere near enough for a team with ambitions of winning everything. The truth is, his finishing and decision-making in the final third need refining. Right now, he's excellent at creating chaos, but not consistent at converting it into goals. The upside, though, is massive. Savinho is still very young, and with his skill set, if he sharpens that end product, he has the potential to become one of the best left wingers in the world. The raw tools are already there: pace, flair, and confidence on the ball. What's missing is the killer instinct. And of course, Pep still has Phil Foden as another option on that flank. But last season was far from his best. He managed only 7 league goals, a big drop from the 19 he scored the season before. If we get to see a rejuvenated Foden this year, with his movement, finishing, and creativity back to their highest level, then City's right wing suddenly looks far less like a weakness and much more like a strength. But the right wing is just one part of the rebuild. The real change in creativity comes from the midfield, where Guardiola has replaced one of the greatest playmakers in Premier League history. For almost a decade, Man City's attacking structure has revolved around one man, Kevin De Bruyne. Whether he was playing as a central midfielder or pushing higher into the number 10 role, he was the one dictating the final pass, finding gaps no one else could see, and setting the rhythm in the final third. When City needed a breakthrough, it was often his vision that made it happen. But last season was different. The signs had been building for a while. The little knocks, the injuries that kept him out for weeks at a time, and the gradual drop in physical sharpness. At 34, those issues became impossible to ignore. He still had moments where he reminded everyone of his quality, but they were isolated flashes instead of a consistent influence. And the numbers told the story. 28 league games, 4 goals, 7 assists. For most players, that's a good return, but for Kevin De Bruyne, those stats were well below his usual standard. It wasn't just the output, it was the impact. The game felt a little too fast for him at times, and his ability to cover ground and press effectively had noticeably dropped. That's not a criticism of his ability. He's still one of the most technically gifted players the league has seen. But Guardiola needs more than flashes from his main playmaker if City wants to dominate every competition. With De Bruyne moving to Napoli this summer, Guardiola had a choice. Try to replace him with a like-for-like profile, or bring in someone who could evolve the role. He chose the second option, and that's where Rayan Cherki comes in. Cherki is 22, and while he doesn't have the same long-range passing style as De Bruyne, his creativity is just as dangerous in a different way. At Lyon last season, in a side that finished 6th and struggled for large parts of the year, he still managed 13 goals and 21 assists. That means in a team with limited attacking quality, he was still producing at an elite level. What stands out about Cherki is his ability in tight spaces. He's excellent at carrying the ball between the lines, beating defenders one-on-one, and playing quick combinations around the box. His vision is sharp and he doesn't panic in crowded areas. If anything, he thrives there. He's also incredibly adaptable. He can drift wide, drop deeper to collect the ball, or push high to operate almost as a second striker. And here's why that's scary. If Cherki could rack up those kind of assist numbers feeding forwards who are inconsistent in front of goal, imagine what happens when he's creating for Haaland, Marmoush, and a potentially resurgent Foden. In a team that dominates possession and carves open defenses regularly, his numbers could explode. Guardiola isn't just replacing a legend here, he's building a midfield that can last for the next 5 to 6 years, and Cherki might just be the first piece of that puzzle. Now, while the midfield is getting a fresh brain, the left wing has a serious injection of both skill and end product, with Doku's dribbling magic on one side and Marmoush's immediate impact on the other. If the right wing is the area with the biggest potential transformation, the left wing is where City already has two very different but equally important weapons. Last season, Pep leaned heavily on Jeremy Doku in this position, and there's no denying what he brings: raw, dribbling brilliance. Doku is one of the best in the league at beating his man. His acceleration over the first few yards is explosive, his close control is sharp, and his ability to glide past defenders in one-on-one situations is unmatched in the squad. He's the kind of player who can turn a static situation into a chance within seconds, forcing defenses to react and reshuffle. That's exactly why Guardiola trusts him in games where City needs to break through a deep block. But here's the drawback. As good as Doku is at progressing the ball, his end product last season was underwhelming. 3 goals and 6 assists across a full Premier League campaign isn't enough for a winger in a side that's built to compete for the treble. He got into dangerous positions constantly, but too often the final shot or pass didn't quite come off. In Pep's system, where every player is expected to contribute directly to goals, that's a gap City can't afford to leave open. And that's why Omar Marmoush's arrival was such a big deal. Marmoush offers something completely different. He's not just a dribbler, he's a finisher. From the moment he joined, he looked like he'd been playing in the Premier League for years. 7 goals and 2 assists in just 16 league games is an incredible start, especially for someone adjusting to a new system and a new level of intensity. What makes Marmoush so valuable is his versatility in the way he attacks. He can finish with both feet, he's comfortable striking from distance, and he times his runs into the box well. He also links up well with the midfield, playing quick passes and moving into space, which is exactly what Pep's positional play demands. And unlike many new signings, he didn't need weeks to get comfortable. He was producing from day one. Having both of them in the same squad gives Guardiola balance. Doku can stretch defenses, create chaos, and draw players out of position, while Marmoush can punish the spaces that open up and provide the direct goal threat City have been missing from that flank. In certain matches, Pep can even switch the mid-game. Start with Doku to wear defenders down, then bring on Marmoush to capitalise when legs are tired. It's a combination that can work against any type of opponent, and with the added creative support from Cherki in the middle, the left side suddenly becomes a zone where City can create and finish without relying on Haaland every single time. Speaking of Haaland, the striker role is still the sharpest weapon in City's arsenal, and even in a season where the team around him wasn't at his best, he still delivered at a ridiculous level. When we talk about Man City's attack, no matter what changes Pep makes on the wings or in midfield, everything still revolves around Erling Haaland. And last season proved that, even when the team around him wasn't firing on all cylinders, he still delivered numbers that most strikers can only dream about. City's midfield was weaker without Rodri in key games. The supply from wide areas wasn't consistent, and Kevin De Bruyne missed large parts of the season. Yet Haaland still finished with 34 league goals and 5 assists. That's not just impressive, that's elite-level output in less than ideal conditions. What makes him so dangerous is how he combines physical presence with movement. He's not the type of striker who just waits for the ball in the box. His runs are timed to perfection. He constantly plays on the shoulder of defenders, forcing them into decisions they don't want to make. Leave him half a yard of space, and he's gone. Try to close him down aggressively, and he'll spin off and exploit the gap behind. Then there's his finishing. Left foot, right foot, headers, he's comfortable with all of them. He can score from cutbacks, crosses, through balls, or even by creating his shot with a quick touch and strike. And that variety means you can't defend him the same way twice in a game, which is why even top-tier defenders struggle to contain him. Last year, he was linking up with wingers who, for the most part, weren't delivering enough goals or assists. This time he could be playing with Marmoush on one side, Savinho or Doku on the other, and Cherki feeding him from midfield. That's a completely different level of service. The unpredictability in City's attack will make it harder for defenses to overload Haaland, because they'll have to respect threats from other areas. This isn't just about improving Haaland's numbers, it's about freeing him from being the only source of goals. If he can share that burden, he'll have more energy for the big moments, and we could realistically be looking at a 50-goal season across all competitions. And with his mentality, you know that's exactly what he's aiming for. But what makes this City attack so dangerous in 2026 isn't just the individual talent, it's the versatility. The ability for players to switch roles, cover multiple positions, and give Guardiola endless tactical options is what could make this their most complete frontline yet. One of the scariest things about this City squad is how adaptable it is. Marmoush gives you a striker option who's just as comfortable cutting in from the left. Cherki can slot in as a creative 10 or a right winger. Doku's pace works on both flanks, and Oscar Bob brings intelligence and technical skill to create or finish chances. This kind of flexibility means Pep can tweak his lineup to counter any opponent, cover for injuries, and keep form high all season. So it all rests on Guardiola to make the best of what he has this season. But what do you think? Can he win the league? Or even a treble next season? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and check out our latest video on Man City's rivals Arsenal having a crazy duo in attack that can destroy teams. Thank you.